Okay, so now that we have already a whole setup done, we will introduce a behavior. And so these are the behaviors that we'll introduce. We will water the plant, we will cap the affection at some limit, and then we will also calculate how many days have passed since the last watering. So let's tackle the first one. So in here, I will just paste it. So we will need a method water plant that accepts an argument about plant and creates a new instance of watering between the person and the plant if there is a plant parenthood associated with both. This method also increases the value of affection by 1. Okay, so let's put binding.pry in here. Let's do rake console. And in the rake console, let's call plant dot second, and now person dot second. And so now let's call person dot water plant and plant, right? So I'm passing this plant here to be watered. And so now I need to create a new watering. So watering dot create person ID and plant ID. No, this is not correct. It shouldn't be person ID because it should be self, right? So let's see. It is self because I called the method on the instance of a person, and so the person becomes self, right? Cool. And so we already have this. If there is a method associated with plant parenthood with both. Okay, so now let's do it. Let's first find the plant parenthood. So plant parenthoods, I'm using this method. This method will return an array, right? So plant parenthoods, let's see, right? It returns an array. Plant parenthoods dot find by, and plant is plant. So let's find plant parenthoods by the plant, and that works. And so you see, you can write it this way, or you can write it find plant parenthood dot plant equals plant. But in here, you see, you're running 2 queries because you're overwriting the native method of active record. We are saying to active record, hey, get this array of plant parenthood and find based on this condition. So we are actually overwriting the native method of find. So it's better if you actually have some kind of like comparison in active record. If it is possible to be done like that by providing the attribute, do it this way, right? Because then you have all the queries, combined. Okay, so let's do that. We see that this works. So now, if there is a plant parenthood, what do we do? Okay, let's just write it out. Oh no, let's do PP. Okay, so if there is a plant parenthood, we want to increase the affection. So, there's an ugly way to do that. The ugly way would be PP update and affection. It would be, we would take the affection level right now, right? So pp.affection plus 1, but this is ugly. I do think that when you're dealing with CRUD on data, you should already provide a ready value, right? Because otherwise it can, especially in JavaScript, it can result in some errors. So let's do this. Affection equals pp.affection, and now affection plus 1, right? And then we are passing affection. And So let's see whether if I run this, whether I will get affection to be 12. And let's see what PP is right now. It is 12, right? But maybe that's local memory. So let's also check it. It is local memory. You see, this is not output of active record. This is active. This is output of Ruby. So now find by plant, and you see that now we are getting the active record output, and so you see that the affection is still 12. Okay, exit. And now let's test it with maybe some data where the affection is non-existent, right? So exit. So I know that there's one instance that where there's no affection, one instance of Planned Parenthood with no affection. So let's test our code on that. So rake console, and here we'll run plant equals plant.third and person equals person.first. So now person water the plant. And so now let's see whether there is a Planned Parenthood connected with it. There's, but you see affection is new. So now if I run this code, what do you think will happen? I am getting an error, right? So undefined method plus for nil class. It's because here you cannot add +1 to nil. So we need to also factor in a situation where there is when there is no affection for some reason, right? And so for this, we can actually use the OR operator. So how the operator works, let's see, A, B, right? So A or B. You see that it will be A because the OR operator evaluates the value from left to right, right? And so unless the first value is false, then it will return the second value. So because of that, we can just do affection is either PP affection or in this case 1, right? And so let's see, or 0, however you want to start. But right now you see that if I call PP, you see that the affection is 2. And yeah, that would be it for this deliverable.